A question that we're often asked at Fresh Baked is, what is the best ride at Disneyland? It's a simple question, kind of impossible to answer though because we're all so different. You love roller coasters, I love dark rides. She seeks thrills, he wants immersive theming. But in this episode of Fresh Baked, we're going to do our best to identify our top 10 best rides at the Disneyland Resort. Counting down to the best ride at Disneyland, we're going to start our list off with Peter Pan's flight here in Fantasyland. Is she a beauty? Now, I'm a sucker for dark rides and legacy attractions, and Peter Pan's flight is perhaps the best of both. Enjoyed by guests since opening day, it's a fun twist on the dark ride with guests hanging from the ceiling and flying pirate ships through the city of London and Neverland. And though the ride clocks in at a brisk 90 seconds, that's all you need, as Peter Pan's flight has perhaps the most highly concentrated magic of any attraction at Disneyland. The London scenes alone are worth the 45-minute wait. You want to know for sure that you're at Disneyland? Go for a ride on the Mark Twain, our number 9 attraction on our best rides at Disneyland. The rivers of America help define Disneyland, and the Mark Twain is the flagship attraction for the river. If you want to connect with Walt Disney while disconnecting from the fast pace of Disneyland, head over to Frontierland and board the Mark Twain. Tour through New Orleans Square and Critter Country before heading to the back half of the river, and along the way, just spend a few minutes meditating on the sounds. The rhythmic pulse of the smokestack, the smooth cadence of the ride's narrator, the totally tranquil lack of the usual sounds you hear at the park. Ride the Mark Twain and you might find yourself wondering just how a thing like this can exist in the middle of suburban Anaheim. For my money, the best rides at Disneyland are those that combine thrills with themed entertainment. And number 8 on our list comes from Tony Baxter, the modern master of this technique, and that's Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain makes this list for me more on the strength of the beautifully designed mountain and the magically themed dark ride portions of the ride rather than the actual drop for which it's known. Disney took the classic flume ride and made it their own, made it in a way that only Disney can. It's a dark ride, much like Pirates of the Caribbean, except that it ends with one of the longest flume drops in the world. And let's not forget that Splash Mountain is responsible for perhaps my single most favorite place to be in all of Disneyland, the Secret Path. This path and the joy that you feel when standing on it is unmatched in the resort. Thank you, Tony Baxter. Number 7 on our list, the new kid on the block, Indiana Jones Adventure and the Temple of the Forbidden Eye. Built more than 20 years ago by the aforementioned Tony Baxter, it's the newest attraction on this list, and that's pretty crazy. There are probably a lot of fans out there saying number 7 is far too low for a ride that can be fairly said to have completely changed the idea of what a dark ride is. And rightfully so. It has everything you could ask for. An innovative ride system, a great story that begins as soon as you enter the queue. A queue, mind you, that is probably the best queue in any theme park anywhere to this day. So why is it not higher on this list? Well, in the eyes of this fan, history is a major factor, making it pretty hard to compete with the likes of the other attractions that we've yet to get to on this list. But if Indiana Jones were built 15 years earlier, I probably would have ranked it quite a bit higher. The 6th best ride at Disneyland is Space Mountain, and this begins what I believe to be a countdown of the 6 most historic, most legendary attractions in the history of Disneyland. We'll start with one of the most iconic show buildings in all of the theme park world. It strikes an impressive profile throughout Tomorrowland and represents the perfect example of John Hench's artistic genius. But what I love most about this ride is that Disney again took something very familiar to theme park fans, the roller coaster, and they turned it into a dark ride. A brilliant idea, executed brilliantly. Who doesn't feel that unmatched excitement when starting up this lift hill? Name another lift hill like it. And you want to know what makes a roller coaster even better, besides being in the dark? This music. I need not say more. Some attractions should not be left off of any list of the best rides at Disneyland, and number 5 on our list, the Matterhorn, is one of those attractions. It's got it all. It's got Walt Disney attached, The mountain itself is iconic, reminding you where you are pretty much no matter where you are at Disneyland, or even when you're not at Disneyland. If you've ever driven down the 5 freeway in Anaheim, you know what I mean. It's even something of a historical landmark, being the first ever tubular roller coaster ever constructed. And for me, there's something pretty fantastic about having 2 tracks running side by side, racing against one another, if you will, giving guests the chance to ride shotgun with another bobsled. Disneyland Railroad. That's it. That's the intro. For some, it's just a train ride. For others, like me, it's the most perfect representation of Walt Disney himself. Ride the train, you ride with Walt. It's said that it all started with a mouse, but I say, when it comes to Disneyland, it all started with Walt's love of trains. And the Disneyland Railroad, the one attraction that was central to every piece of concept art and design in the history of Disneyland. The Disneyland Railroad is Disneyland history. How do I top the Disneyland Railroad and its poetic place in Disneyland history? Well, I don't really, but what I can do is tell you a little bit about Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, number 3 on our best rides at Disneyland. For some, this might be a controversial entry into this list considering my love of Disneyland history, but I also love, very much, Tony Baxter and his art. I've often said that Big Thunder is the single best example of the intersection of thrills and themed entertainment. Part roller coaster, part Miniland. Baxter created an immersive, believable world for this attraction. One that is so much fun to be in. You simply can't get much better than this. This is how themed entertainment should be. Well, we're down to the last 2, and if you're any kind of Disneyland fan, you know which 2 remain. The question is, in which order? But before we reveal the final 2 and their order, let's recognize a few attractions that didn't quite make the final cut, but to me are very important to the Disneyland Resort. There's Casey Jr. for being the cutest, most Waltiest ride you ever could find. There's any Main Street vehicle for being one of the best ways to really feel that you're at Disneyland. And then there's Radiator Springs Racers for being perhaps the best ride ever, if only it weren't in DCA. And now, for our final 2 attractions in our top 10 list. Well, it comes down to the last 2 attractions, and it can be argued that you're either Haunted Mansion or Pirates of the Caribbean. Which one is fresh baked? Well, number 2 on our list is the Haunted Mansion. An attraction that is a literal who's who of Disney legends. Ken Anderson, Yale Gracie, Ex Atencio, Claude Coates, Mark Davis, Bob Gurr, everyone. And their creation houses some of the most memorable, most historic scenes in Disneyland history. There's the mansion itself, there's the stretching room, the portrait hall, the Doom Buggies, Madame Leota, the Hatbox Ghost, the singing bus, and the hitchhiking ghosts. Each legends in the entire theme park universe. Now, like I said, you're either a Haunted Mansion guy or a Pirates of the Caribbean guy. I am a Pirates of the Caribbean guy, and that's pretty much the completely unscientific reason why I believe that Pirates is the best ride at Disneyland. Now, don't get confused. Pirates is no less legend than Haunted Mansion. Once again, a who's who in Imagineering. Ex Atencio, Mark Davis. Perhaps Disney's greatest achievement in storytelling, animatronics, and immersively themed environments. Board a boat at Lafitte's Landing and be transported to another time and place like no other in the world. Discover a story that was so interesting, so in need of explanation, that it inspired 5 major motion pictures, a movie franchise that has now grossed more than $4.5 billion worldwide. All that from a 15-minute dark ride. The auctioneer would be proud. And that fresh baked are our top 10 rides at Disneyland. Surely we missed some, put some out of order. We'd love to hear from you as always. Which rides don't belong in this list? Which rides do? What is your number 1 favorite ride at Disneyland? Let us know in the comments below, and until next time, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. And until next time, fresh baked! We've got lots more videos for you to see, so grab a churro and check out some of our other videos and have your mind blown by how much fun we're having. We truly are the best of Disney Bake Fresh Daily. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and we'll see you next time. Fresh Bake!